Good evening, everyone. I'm back again to give a midday checkup, check in on my fast. Not well, midweek, not midday. On my fast, it's going to be for 4 weeks, and I'm doing good on the third day. I noticed that it's easier, of course, for me to get up in the mornings. Um, Also, I don't have that burning sensation that I mentioned on the first day because I thought it was due to an empty stomach taking the pills because we know they have herbs in them. And I thought that maybe me taking them on an empty stomach was the reason why I had that kind of burning feeling in my stomach the whole day when I took each set of pills. But the second and third day, I didn't really have that issue. So I think it may be my body just adjusting to taking the herbs and maybe what I was eating, you know, from that past weekend or whatnot, or just in general. But I'm doing fine now. I do notice, and this happened last time, the last couple of times too, but I have more cramping and, cramping um, in the lower, like around my uterus, more cramping, and that happened last time. And I feel like that's more of I think that's where a lot of my detoxing happens. Kind of in my lower abdomen, in that area, which is kind of interesting. Um, my bowel movements are fine. I remember the last couple of times I had a hard time. Um, After a while, I had a hard time with my bowel movements for a while, which was weird, considering the fact that I was eating, raw. And then on the detox, I had a hard time. And I think because at the first time I was eating solid raw foods, um, and I think my whole body was adjusting to it, to the food, to everything, to the fasting, to all of that, because it was new to me. It was new to my body. So it was kind of interesting that when I got off my fast back in October, I started in September and then ended it in October. It seemed like I absorbed my body absorbed the nutrients better. So that's a good thing about that. So I'm curious to see what happens with when I get off the fast in January. Um, but I just say that my bowel movements are fine. But I noticed like the first or second time I did it, the fasting, I had I had a hard time with the more cramping and um, just discomfort or whatnot. Um, but the only thing I'm having now is the cramping. But I don't know if that has to do with your cycle coming. But that's normally I don't really have symptoms at all. So, and it feels the same way that it did the last couple of times that I had the cramping. And it's always in the morning. It's always in the morning. But I also wanted to talk about um, the moon cycles, and I've been mentioning that I've been more tired, and I've been wanting to be more to myself or to retreat. And then I looked at the phase of the moon, and we're in the waning crescent moon, or they call it the balsamic moon, which is the end of the cycle of the moon cycle. Um, it's a time of reflection. It's a time to tie up loose ends, to prepare for new beginnings. It's a time of release. It's sleep time. Rest is imperative. It's a time of quiet contemplation. It's not a time for dramatic changes. A time to notice the subtle. You let the mind and body relax. Great for final endings. Great time for inspiration and creativity. Not a time for new beginnings. A time for stalled progress on logic and forward. But so it makes sense now the feeling that I'm having, and we've been in this phase of the moon cycle since last Friday. So it makes sense, because I've been feeling more tired, been feeling like I want to retreat more, you know. And the new moon is going to be on Friday, and it's funny because every time the new moon happens, I get a burst of like motivation or energy to do to start something that's like a shift to my purpose. Um, Last new moon, like maybe a few days after that, I decided that I wanted to start you know, sharing things on YouTube, or just share things in general. Just share, part of what drives me, part of what inspires me. And I think it's just very interesting how things manifest or whatnot when you pay more attention to nature and you pay more attention to the moon cycle. I just think it makes your life a little bit. It makes you understand life a little bit more better when you understand things like the moon cycle. You won't feel as insane. You won't feel so off balance. You won't feel so weird or whatever. And it's so funny because I think sometimes the full moon has a negative connotation to it, because a lot of times people are like, is it the full moon because things are happening that's all crazy? But the full moon is, a lot of times for me, it's a time where I'm very charged, have a lot of energy. Like sometimes it's hard to go to sleep, and then it makes sense because really, I don't know if you necessarily should go to sleep until the full moon passes or whatnot. Until you actually see. Well, where my house is, it's not a good view of the full moon. But sometimes I feel like you can't go to sleep until the full moon has shifted, whatever you call it, you know. But I just have a lot more energy. That's the time of manifestation, or whatever. Like whatever you had wanted for the new moon, with whatever your intentions was for the new in the new moon, is supposed to normally manifest by the full moon. So, I know I used to think that was a negative connotation, but I think that if more people were more aware of it, about the understanding of the moon cycles, then things won't seem so weird and crazy. But that's all I wanted to talk about for now, and I'll be back on Sunday in regards to um, a checkup. And I hope that everybody is doing well. Who's ever doing the fast, I hope that you are hanging in there and are staying inspired, and it's very rewarding. You'll feel better. Um, you'll definitely see a shift. You might even manifest more things than you realize. So just stay inspired, and I'll talk to you later.